Hello Dothack Collectors. Today I have a special unboxing video. I normally don't do these, however, this is a very special item. I've been on the hunt for many years. I bought this on eBay, and it looks like the method of shipping they chose was DHL. They shipped it on March 20th, 2021, and I received it yesterday. And it says here it weighs 4.9 kilograms, which, let's see here, it's close. It's 4.8 technically. I guess I just round up. And that's about, well, 10 pounds. It's pretty heavy. Anywho, put that aside. Let's see what's inside. Now this cost $143 and free shipping. Now bear that in mind, because when you see what it is, you might think it's a steal. But I swear, I've been looking, and I've never been happy with the prices until I saw this seller post it. Sure a lot of wrapping on this thing. Alright, so here we go. Now this, you may be wondering, what on earth is this? It's actually a book. This is Dothack GU, and this is what it is. Dothack Archives. This is volume 2. This also says Dothack GU. Also says Dothack Archives volume 2. This one says Dothack GU Trilogy, and this says Dothack Archives 01. So you might be asking, what is Dothack Archives? Basically, it's a art and info book on the series that the volume is covering. So when this first came out, they started with Trilogy, and they kind of went backwards at first. So it started with Trilogy, which at the time when Archives came out, this was the newest feature film that came out. So then they went from Trilogy, they went down to GU, the PS2 games, and then volume 3 is the original Dothack Infection, Mutation, Outbreak, Quarantine book, which I do have. I actually have this one, but I don't have these two until now. So now I have Archives volume 1, 2 black, 2 white, and 3, which, one second. I do have volume 3. And then volume 3 also came with this limited edition bonus set that goes with that as well. And like I had mentioned, I already have Trilogy, so now I have a spare, or I might sell it or give it away, who knows. Haven't got that far yet. Right now my goal is to get the Dothack Archives books. Now these are probably both the hardest and easiest to find, simply because they are limited prints of these books. If you were to, let's say, open one of them, they will give you an actual print number. I believe that is okay, here it is. So they say serial number on here, but that's basically a number of series of how many of these were actually printed. So this is 3239 for trilogy. Now my other trilogy says 3008. So even though they're the same books, each one has a different serial number, and that just shows how many of these books were printed. So there's at least 3,000 more of these books before this one, and I don't know how many more after that, but I can tell you I have at least 2 of the serials for trilogy right now. So after these are all hardcovers, by the way. These are not the soft cover versions. They actually reprinted these books in a soft cover versions. They're called Dothack Archives Light. So the hard editions won't say light on it, and it'll usually say on the cover light edition or something. And the sizes are actually smaller, both height and width. So bear that in mind. But CC2 did something pretty smart, in my opinion. They actually released these a 3rd time. So the originals were hardback, the 2nd editions were light, and the 3rd edition they went to ebooks for Amazon. So that means you can get these online through Amazon Japan as an ebook. So you can put that onto whatever you want, your smartphone, a Kindle, whatever. You can actually have a digital copy of these books, which means there's a unlimited supply technically, but I prefer the hard versions, and that was my goal. After, I forget which volume, it might be after volume 3, I could be wrong, I'm just thinking from the top of my head, they stopped doing hard books. So everything beyond volume 3 is a paperback. And like I said, these all got re-released a 2nd time as paperback as well. But it's been my goal just to get these books. So let me show you what's in these books. So this is volume 1, trilogy. And since it's Japan, I believe it's going to go from right to left. So we have some art. I have some merch here now. I've seen some of these shirts, but some of these shirts I've never seen before. I'll have to research that. Yeah. Just that page. Or they were just concepts for the ones that actually did get released. This is the trilogy movie. They're showing different screenshots there. Dothack G Trilogy Lost Files. Looks like we got some animation models that were used in development. Some more animation sequences. Okay, I remember this. There was an online version of this called the Making Magazine Plus. It wasn't exactly like this, but same idea. In fact, I think I still have the website saved. Some of the wallpapers that we saw. Now, for those of you who didn't get to see Returner, basically they have Ovan standing underneath a tree and Aina standing in the middle of the fields looking for him. And then, obviously, reuniting. Spoiler alert, by the way. Yeah. Seo in this form. Some more artworks. Oh, these are pretty cool. Shots of a field in the World War II. Now, one interesting concept that was brought up in Dothack Beyond the World was the fact that everything in the world actually took place on a giant continent called Alba. This doesn't look like Alba to me. This looks like maybe just the island that's the field is taking place on. But it's quite interesting that all the root towns, all the fields and dungeons are actually taking place on a centralized continent. It was never really brought up before in the earlier versions, or at least not as much, or maybe in the unpublished Japanese ones, such as Epitaph of Twilight, Zero, and so forth. But it's interesting nonetheless. So, that is Volume 1 of Archives. Trilogy here. Like I said, I already had this one, so I've seen these before long ago. Now, what I have never seen before is Black and White Volume 2. So this is black version, Volume 2. Let's go from right to left again. This is 2/6/11. Some concept art, sketches. Like, there's different versions of what Pi could have been. Before they obviously finalized the design on what kind of character they want for her to be. The avatars, or epitaphs, whichever you want to call them. Designs for Adelie. Her epitaph, I imagine. Yeah, Innes. Different versions of Skeeth, Sao, and all those different forms. Some wallpapers. That's pretty cool. I had a version of Black Rose in mind for R2, but obviously she didn't make the cut. Kuwa, Basaru. Don't know who those are supposed to be. Here we have Natsume. Looks like these are just concepts of, no wait, that's Taro. Looks like these are all the chaotic player killers. Azure Flame Kite in his Azure God form. Oh, look, different colors. I had a blue version and a black version. Interesting. Heroes the third. Still want to know what happened to the second. We'll never know. So far, looks like a lot of different character designing, concept sketches, some ideas that were used, tweaked, moved around, probably reused for other characters. So that's where that came out. I was wondering where this idea of a figure was from. So I got the figure for Haseo that was actually used in the premium edition in North America. But yeah, if I'm remembering right, this was almost a figurine that we could have had. Well, I could be wrong. Who knows? Now, if you ever watched the Dothack GU prototype trailers, you might remember some of these concepts in the trailer for Adelie. This one in particular, I think I remember seeing her in the prototype trailer before, obviously, the final version. So that's black. That was mostly just character art concepts. Let's see what white has. So in white edition, I think this one might be more world building, if I remember right. Oh look, there's a narrative on Dothack 0 in here. Can't read Japanese, so I have no idea what that's saying. That's strange. Is this reading the other way? I'd be reading this way. Yeah, this is world building. So we got the locations, transportation, NPCs, chaos gates, root towns, the battle arena, Tartaga, net slums, Raven Guild, and the Grunties. Oh yes. Someone asked, how come all the Grunties have hats? Except for Death Grunty. Well, looks like he could have had a hat at one point. Obviously the better design is the Haseo look. Got Wise Grunty, Mellow Grunty, Gao Grunty, King Grunty. I think I like King Grunty's final version better than his earlier version. On the fence about Gao. The eye patch. Mellow doesn't look that much different. It just made his antlers much more smoother. And Wise Grunty didn't change that much either. Look at that, more Grunties. Steam bikes, different weapons, and areas. So different design concepts of different terrains, dungeons, fields, lucky animals, monsters. So that's pretty cool. They split these books up based off characters and based off world building. I like that. all the Dothack archive books, this is the only one that got split. Volumes 1 and 3 and the rest are just single books about the series that they are pertaining to. Oh yeah, I've seen before when people were talking about the language, the alphabet used in the world. And we got ourselves a little guide up here that tells you some of the usage or pronunciations. Here we go. Here's the actual alphabet, letter for letter, A, B, C, D, E, and so forth. People were really interested in this when Dothack GU Last Recode came out, because they were trying to read what the sword Haseo had on his new form, and they took these letters out, and I believe it's spelled Key of the Twilight. So obviously K, E, Y, and so forth. Okay, so there's the version 2088. And that we have Volume 2 of Dothack Archives. And then the last one, which I've already had, and is by far the most loved by fans that I've seen. Not only because it deals with Dothack infection, mutation, outbreak, and quarantine, but also these things on the book itself. For example, we have the Key of the Twilight, the actual poem here. Part of it, at least. Anyway, and on the other side, we got what looks like the Book of 1,000, the book that Aura imparts to Orca, and then Orca obviously gets comatose by Skeeth, and then this is given to Kite after that incident, like the first few minutes of the original game. So that's pretty cool how they did that. And we have some kind of rune alphabet here. I don't think this is similar to the alphabets that we saw in the last book, but here we have Dothack infection, mutation, outbreak, and quarantine. Now it's pretty interesting to me that they went with the English spelling for these, considering the Japanese version don't actually call them by those words there. Anyway, so I love this book. This book is amazing. I got 1181 as my serial here. This book is cool. Actually, I think this one's going the other way too. Oh. Got a picture of Aura. The power it holds can bring forth either salvation or destruction at the whim of the user. So we got infection, mutation, outbreak, quarantine, the Dothack prototype, earlier designs, Dothack backbone, Dothack trivia, Waka artworks, outbreak 120%, and user guide here. So let's see here. Now this too has some world building in it, and it goes over the character designs. Oh look, actually get to see his actual hat for once. Such as his scarf, his backpack, some of his belts, his signature twin blade weapon in there, which I'm sure most people automatically discard for a better weapon in the game. And every time you equip a different weapon, it has a different design. Like Rose. So we got close-up pictures of her as well, such as her armbands, chest plate, shoes. Her sword. clips, how it connects, goes around her. Orca, Balmung, some level designs. Here we got Skeeth. His designs with the original Celtic cross and not the censored version. Helba, Leos, Wiseman, Pyros. Well, this is a cool page that I've seen a fellow Dothack fan, Azure Doom, use when he was creating 3D models. He used this as reference on the names of these individual weapons. So we got like the signature amateur blades and all the other blades that Kite can use. And here we have Sora from Dothack Sign, his blades right there. And I believe here we have, this one's Black Rose's sword. And I think right over here we have Mimuru's sword from Dothack Sign. Like Subaru's axe, Terajima's axe, Sukasa's staff. This one's supposed to be elk staff down here. Different servers, more character designs. Got elk, Mia, Gardenia, and different monsters. Some more characters. And some artwork. Now here's another bonus novel called Dothack Legacy. Now this was translated by fellow fan Kooky. You might find the link in our Discord. But here's a bonus story here. It's split into different chapters. So you might want to go give that a read. You can get the English version on our site. And then we have Dothack prototypes. Now these are the early concepts of the Dothack series when it first originated in the early 2000s. Everything came out, I believe, in 2002 officially, but if you want to learn the backstory and the history of where some of the characters originally started, like I believe this is supposed to be Kite before he was redesigned. And I don't remember what the others were supposed to represent, but I believe the theme was still a Alice in Wonderland type of style, where you go down the rabbit hole, and then you have characters like the Cheshire Cat being Maha, and Mad Hatter's supposed to be Leo's, and there's crazy theories and all that. But here we have some of the earlier designs, and then we have the second prototype, which was called Mooncrow. I believe the first one was supposed to be called Break Thief Protege, and then we have Mooncrow, which became pretty much a little bit edgier, I would say. And then we start really seeing Kite further once, as actually named Kite, prototype Kite Mooncrow. Early version of probably Macanee right there. But it looks like they have train trolleys instead of boat canals, even though they still show some boat canals down there. Some boards. Okay, now we get into Treasure Tracker, the third prototype before Dothack. This is phase 3. Once again, they kept Kite, redesigned them a little bit more. I'm assuming it's supposed to be this offline and online self. And we get some more recognizable characters like Orca. I'm assuming that's supposed to be Belmont. Black Rose. Not sure why they had her designed as a whip. Okay, here's Belmont. Mia, Elk, Helba, Skeeth, and Aura. Some of these crazier designs. Like, yeah. Belts, like Haseo. Mistral, Wise Man, Pyros, Natsume, Gardenia, Moonstone, Rachel, I think that's supposed to be Terajima, Sanjuro, Nuke, and gosh, I can't remember his name, Marlowe. So this is a lot closer to the final product. Data drain, gate hacking, virus bugs. Dothack early designs. The rough character designs from Dothack gather here. Behold the moment of their birth. So it looks like they're still saying it's Treasure Hacker here. We got New Generation Online, The World. The World, the rough character designs from Dothack gather here. That's the same thing. You got the actual login screen being developed. Different areas. Data drain. Printies. Monsters. All kinds of things. Dothack Backbone. Mind you, it's been years since I read this book. Got some of the wave symbols and elements. Earth, thunder, water, wood, darkness, fire. I believe these are relationship charts, how everyone is connected. Relationship to who, to what. And I think this is this is how the world and the operating system Ultimate OS and how CyberConnect became what they are in this fictional world, starting with the introduction of the ARPANET back in 1969 and all the events that happened after that, such as Pluto's Kiss, Deadly Flash. There's Deadly Flash right there. On December 2003, the World Network, I forgot what the C stood for. But WNC eventually became NAB, which is the Network Administration Bureau in terms of purpose. And obviously, if you ever watched the Thanatos report after completing Dothack Versus, you kind of see that all these events were actually manipulated by a group, which that's as far I'm going to spoil. If you wish to learn more, you will have to look that up or complete the game. Here we have things on Harold and Emma. Harold was the one who created the world. Emma was the one who created the Epitaph of Twilight poem. And some trivia. Artworks. And that's it. That is Volume 3 of Dothack Archives. But yeah, I recommend definitely picking up these books physically if you can. Hardbacks, light edition. If you can't, then you might want to consider getting an ebook version and checking these yourself. Quite cool to have, quite cool to read. Unfortunately, they're in Japanese, so take that into consideration. But that's all I have for now. If you like these videos, please subscribe to our channel and join our Discord for all of our Dothack community members to join. If you have a recommendation on our next video, please leave those in the comments. Thank you.